All right, let's review evaluating algebraic expressions. So algebraic expressions are expressions that have variables, and usually they'll tell you what the variable equals, and then you have to substitute that number in for the variables. That's your first step. Substitute numbers in for variables. When you substitute, you always want to put it in parentheses. That's super important. You always want to substitute with parentheses. And then you use the order of operations to solve the expression. All right, so let's try an example. So I have 5x minus the cube root of x squared plus 2. X equals negative 5. So my first step is I'm going to substitute in negative 5 whenever I see an x. Remember, I'll always put it in parentheses. All right, so that cube root, and I'm going to see x, so I'm going to plug in negative 5 squared plus 2. All right, so always put it in parentheses whenever you substitute. Okay, so now I'm going to do the order of operations, gems. All right, first step, grouping. Do I have any groupings? I do. Underneath the radical is considered a grouping. And then underneath that, I have to do that exponent before I can add. So negative 5 squared, negative 5 times negative 5 gives me 25. And then I can bring everything else down. 25 plus 2 gives me 27. And that's still underneath that cube root. And I can bring everything else in my problem down. And now I'm done with groupings. My next step is exponents. Well, I don't have any exponents per se. I do have a cube root, which is the same power as an exponent, so I could have to do it during the exponent step. So the cube root of 27 is 3, and then I can bring the rest of my problem down. And I'm done with exponents. My next step is multiply or divide. Well, I see a number next to parentheses, so that means multiply. So 5 times negative 5 will give me negative 25. And then I can bring the rest of my problem down, and I'm done with multiplying. And my last step is subtract or add, and I see I have a subtraction thing here. So negative 25 minus 3 will give me negative 28, and that is my final answer. All right, let's try one more problem. 5x minus parentheses x plus y squared, close parentheses, minus x squared, when x equals negative 2 and y equals 5. First step, substitute in our numbers. So 5, and instead of x, I'm going to plug in negative 2. But always substitute in with parentheses. Minus, open parentheses, x, so x equals negative 2, so I'm going to plug that in with parentheses again. Plus y squared, we'll have to plug in 5 for y, but I'm going to plug it in with parentheses. And then I have minus x squared, and x is negative 2, so I'm going to put negative 2 squared. So now that I substituted in, and I substituted my numbers in with parentheses, now I can use gems to try and figure out my problem. All right, so using gems, I see my first step's G for groupings. I say I have a grouping right in the middle. And inside this, I know I have to do this exponent before I can add. So I have to do that exponent first. 5 squared gives me 25. And I can bring down the rest that's inside my parentheses. Negative 2 plus 25 is 23. Now I can bring down the rest of my problem. And then I am done with my groupings. My next step is exponents. And I see I have an exponent way over there on the right, and I have negative 2 squared. Well, negative 2 times negative 2 gives me 4. And now I can bring down the rest of my problem because I don't have any other exponents, so I'm done with exponents. Now I do multiply or divide. And I see I have a 5 next to this parentheses. A number next to parentheses means multiply. So 5 times negative 2 gives me negative 10, and I can bring the rest of my problem down because I'm done with multiplying. And now I can subtract. So negative 10 minus 23 gives me negative 33, and I can bring down my negative 4, or my minus 4. Negative 33 minus 4 gives me negative 37, and that is my final answer. Remember, for order of operations and substitution, you can always use Desmos to check your answer. It's a very useful tool. So you might be wondering, why do I have to substitute in parentheses? Well, you have to substitute in parentheses because it will help you get the right answer. So I have one with parentheses and one without parentheses here. So in parentheses, what this means is it's negative 2 times negative 2, because it's negative 2 squared was the problem. So negative 2 times negative 2 would give me 4. What the example without the parentheses shows is what this means will be negative 2 times 2, because in this example, the square, the exponent, is only with the 2 and not with the negative sign. So negative 2 times 2 would give me negative 4. So I get two totally different answers based if I put it in parentheses or not. The parentheses tells you to square the negative and the 2, where without the parentheses, you're only squaring the number and not the negative. So that's why it's important to always substitute in parentheses. All right, have a great day.